I'm Jacques from Hobie, and this is the quick start video for Island and Tandem Island Mirage kayaks. This video is going to quickly cover things like assembly, how to rig the sail, how to deploy the rudder, how to work the daggerboard, things like that, to quickly get you out on the water and enjoying your new purchase. Our Island and Tandem Island kayaks are going to ship with the new Vantage CT chair. We do ship the chairs partially assembled so that they sit down flatter for packing down tighter. So you do have to install the pivot screws. It's pretty straightforward. You just take the chair, get it set up into the correct position. You're going to see where these screws go in. The screws have a little bit of a nylon coating on the threads to keep them from backing out. And I'm just going to finger tighten that on both sides, and then I'll just screw them in with a screwdriver. Likely this is going to have already been done for you at the dealer, so you won't have to assemble your chair, but we're just covering it here in case for some reason maybe you've gotten a replacement chair, or you bought your boat and it was shipped to you and it wasn't assembled. So this is just something that you may or may not have to do. Once the screws are assembled, and you don't want to over tighten that because you want it to be able to pivot up and down. But once these screws have been installed, you're never going to take them back out. And now we'll just put the chair into the kayak. The way you do that is you set the back of the chair down into the kayak floor, and then you push down in the front, sort of down and back, while lifting the back, and you'll feel it just kind of clip into position on the bar in the front. And you just do a quick little tug to make sure that it's in there. And then lastly, you're going to attach the buckle in the back, and that secures the chair to the kayak so it won't come out. It's very important that you attach the buckle in the back. Some vintage Adventure Islands and Tandem Islands are going to have a clip back here rather than a buckle. That would be a 2015 model year. So you'll just want to double check that. You can get the new buckle system if you have a 2015. This is available from any dealer as a free upgrade. So to adjust the kickstand, and the default position is going to be low. If you want to come up in the back, you're going to unweight the seat, just move forward while pulling this handle which says kickstand right on it. As you pull that, there's going to be a couple of legs that jettison out from the back of the chair. If you want to go higher, again, you just keep pulling the handle. If you want to go low, you just unweight the seat. It's automatically going to kick under and it's going to go to low position. Same for the front. The front, there's a webbing strap here that you grab onto, and it can go up or down and give you the right amount of support under your thighs that you like. Here's the seat all the way reclined. As you pull this, it's got a take-up feature that takes it forward. And the boa, you loosen it right here, and you tighten it by turning it clockwise. So here we're going to install the rudder onto the transom here. Rudder pin comes with the kayak. It's got this groove here, which is a guide for the up and the down lines. You'll see how that works here in a second, but you basically just put it down through the hole into the gudgeon and out the bottom to put these lines up into the guide. It should come out the bottom right here, and then you've got a locking ring like this that you'll put through the hole. Again, the rudder should be installed by the dealer already. I'm just showing you this in case for some reason you have a failure of your rudder pin down the road. Every kayak has a spare rudder pin inside the rear hatch from the factory. It's attached right here, and the rudder pin is designed to be a failure point in the event of a hard hit. If you're trailering it and you ran into something, the rudder pin is designed to fail before you break the transom or the gudgeon or the rudder assembly. So the Adventure Island and Tandem Islands both come with your steering system not attached to the boat when we ship it, and that's just so that it packs down tighter. So again, this may have been already installed by your dealer, but we ship the kayaks with the handle, so you can have it in a low position, which I'll show you right here. So basically it would just be, you know, flat on the deck, or we have what we call the riser. I'll pop that off. And this riser, again, it just pops onto the system. There's only one way to do it. It's got a slot here that's indexed to that pin, and it's ready to go like so. And then the handle would mount on top. So there's two different types of hardware that come with the Kayak. I prefer the handle being on a riser. It's a little better reach for me. I'm a little shorter, and it's more ergonomic, it's more comfortable, but you'll want to experiment. You may like it down low, you may like it high, so it's personal preference. The different hardware that's included, you're gonna have a longer screw, which will go through the handle and then through the riser down into the crank that's in the boat. That's a Phillips screw, so you'll need a Phillips screwdriver. Or if you choose to just go in the low position, the short screw has an Allen head on it, and the wrench to install that is actually included with the Kayak. So you've got that ready to go. Some kayaks may not have the plastic dip on the screws, and in which case you want to use some Loctite. It's very important to use Loctite on those screws. But again, this is a current production, and they do have some of the Nylock already installed on the thread, so you won't have to use Loctite. You would just go ahead and install your screw. And then lastly, there's a Hobie decal, and that's going to just cover the top of the handle so that you conceal the screw. It's just for a better look. So all the Island and Tandem Islands have your up and down function in the cockpit here. They're labeled. So to put the rudder down, you'll pull this line until it's tight, and you'll want to leave it in the cleat. That's very important, that the rudder stay locked down so that you have good control of your rudder system. And when you hit the beach, you just let that come out of the cleat and you pull the up handle, and that raises the rudder up. On the Tandems, there are two systems, front and rear, so either passenger, or if you're by yourself and you're sitting in the front or the back, that works either way. For transporting your Adventure Island and Tandem Island, we include this bungee strap system, which you just hook on the rear pad eye and just slide it over the rudder. That'll just keep it from bouncing when you're going down the road and minimize the wear and tear on your rudder. If for any reason you need to adjust the steering lines on your Adventure Island or Tandem Island, this is how you do it. The two steering lines are right here. There's these two Phillips screws. You basically would just loosen those up and then adjust your line, keeping both sides equal. And you want those just to be snug. These are actually a little bit loose here, so you want it tighter than that. And this screw just holds the line in place. Now we'll install the MirageDrive. The way to properly do that is the rigid part of the fin faces forward, the flexible is facing back. You make sure that you're dropping that in vertically, and it automatically locks in place. Now for installing this on a trailer, it's going to be a little tricky because the trailer could be in the way, or on the ground. You want to put the boat on its side to put those in. It just drops straight down like I just did when you're in the water. So that would be the way you would install it. And then if you keep 1 foot back and 1 foot forward and hook this bungee that's in the cockpit onto it, it's going to keep the fins up against the bottom of the hull so that you can be right up on shallow sand or even on dry beach. Your MirageDrive is adjustable for different size passengers. Sort of a middle position is good kind of all around. If you're a taller guy, you'll want to go forward. If you're shorter, or maybe for your child, you can come all the way back. And then there's also a scale here on both drums. You'll want to keep the numbers the same from left to right. That'll give an equal amount of pedaling. And a comfortable position for pedaling is just a slight bend in the knee when you're at your full extension. So in your cockpit area, under the chairs, are what we call our speed drain system. There's a little handle here that you pull, and you pull back into that cleat, which keeps the drain open. I'll pop the seat out so you can see what I'm talking about. And under the boat, there's a little Venturi cap that creates a pressure. So any water that gets in this area under your seat is going to escape out the drain. If you're just cruising and you're not going very fast and you want to just keep any water from coming up, you would leave the drain closed. But if you're going quicker and you're taking waves over the side and you get some water in here to stay dry, I know that with the Vantage chair you're raised up, you're probably not going to get wet, but what you would do is you would just open that drain. The water's going to go right down the scupper, and you can leave it open if you're sailing and you're going at a good pace. Here I have the Aka arms. These are what connects your AMAs to the main hull of the kayak. There's fronts. The fronts are universal. There's a paddle holder. On the Adventure Island, there's only one paddle holder. On the Tandem Island, there's paddle holders on both sides. And on the rears have this strut brace. That's how you can tell that it's a rear. There are going to be left and right, so you'll need to orient the crossbar correctly to where you can install it on the mounting pin here. The way you install that is you just take the cast part into the center crossbar and you just push it in straight until you hear it click. And what you're hearing click is the little detent buttons here that you press to remove it. And so it's important that those click all the way, and you do a quick little test to make sure that they don't pop out. Attach your ball. The way that works is it's got just a little spring to it and locks in place. Here you've got your paddle rest for the back. I'll install the front. The process is exactly the same. Just press it in until you hear that click. Now I've got one of our AMAs. The AMAs are universal. They're not left and right. They can be put on either side. You'll notice that there's two bungees here. There's one that's a little shorter, one that's a longer bungee. And those are gonna just pull over these two little pad eyes that you see here. So the longer one will go over the furthest one. The shorter one's gonna go on the bottom. And you basically just put the Aka arm into the scupper hole right here. Just lift it into position, like so, and lift the bungee over. Same for the back. On this side, I'll install a trampoline. One of the best selling accessories that we make besides a dolly or a cart for your kayak is the trampolines. The trampolines make the boat just a lot more versatile. It gives you a ton more space. You can put your kids out here. They're just a great item. The one negative about the tramps though is that you can't easily fold the AMAs back to the side of the hull. So as you can see, it's really easy on this side. But with the tramps, you'll first need to just disconnect them, which again, this is really simple. You just unbuckle these buckles across the back, and then you simply roll it up like so. Once you roll it up, you just disconnect your bungees here, and there's some little clips that are grommeted right onto the tramp. Your island or Tandem island is going to come with a paddle as well, or two paddles in the case of this Tandem. So you'll just want to install some drip rings. The drip ring should be cupped to the paddle side, to the paddle blade side, I should say. And they just pop together. They're fiberglass shaft paddles, and they assemble as such. They are adjustable for different paddle orientation. Lastly, you'll also receive a T-handle. That comes with the kayak, so I'll install that. And that allows you to just paddle your kayak like a canoe, if you'd rather do it that way. With the tramps, just an island or a Tandem island in general, paddling it like a regular kayak is going to be pretty difficult with the crossbars in place. But it's always good to take a paddle with you or two. You can even put these inside the hull if you don't want to store them on the external storage here. But I'm going to assemble the sail now. I just want to talk to you about how the sail comes. Likely this will already be assembled by your dealer, but if you wanted to take it apart, or let's say for storage, the mast is in 2 pieces. The battens are easily removable, and this all packs down into a really nice bag. The bag can be stowed on the sail as it's rolled up in full length, or you can put the parts in there and just keep it during the winter if you want to put it away. And you'll just notice how the sail is cut. So it has a slight bend in the front edge of the sail. So you're going to install your mast into the front edge. It's just a sleeve. The 2 parts of the mast go together. It's pretty obvious how this works. Basically just butt those up against each other. And then you'll slide it right in. Keep in mind, as you go through the sail, it's going to be normal for it to kind of bunch up because, like I said, there's what's called luff curve built into the sail, and that's what helps give you the shape and the foil of the sail. So it gets a little bit tighter as you get all the way to the top. At the top of the mast, there's a fitting here where you're going to put this webbing strap inside. And once the line at the bottom is tensioned, that'll stay in place. It's really important that that webbing strap be positioned like such. The sail is going to come with multiple battens. The longest batten is going to be a lot thicker, and it also is going to have a taper on one end. So you'll want to locate the end that has the taper. That's the part that we're going to pass through the batten sleeve. And when the batten's all the way in, that tapered sleeve is in a little batten cap at the bottom of the sail, and that protects the material. You'll want to locate one of the 3 batten caps that comes in your owner's manual. The bigger opening here, it's going to be very obvious which one fits on the larger batten. So to install the batten cap, you're going to want to pass the line through the eye here, around the other grommet on the other side of the sail, and into the cleat. It's really important that you have the line coming into the cleat the correct way. It needs to be coming in from the flat side and exiting the side with the channel here, and that's the proper way it'll stay in the cleat. If you were to come the wrong direction, it's got the ability to pull out, and so these will get loose. Your battens will get loose. You could lose possibly lose the cap. So as long as you rig it the correct way, you should only have to rig this once and maybe never even have to take it apart. What I do is I'll put another little knot in the line, and I'll actually just pass that down through this other portion so that it just keeps it like so. The next 2 battens are going to be shorter. They're not the same length, so you'll want to determine which is the right length batten. Just lay them on top of the sail. You can see this one's clearly the shorter one. That'll be going at the bottom. Again, you've got more batten caps. The procedure is going to be the same way on the short battens. You'll install those. These, however, don't have a taper. They just kind of go in. And you'll want to make sure that they get all the way into the batten protector at the bottom there. You're going to install the cap, fish the line through the eye, around the opposite side grommet, same way we just did it on the larger batten. And I just tension that up until you get a slight bow in the sail just to get the wrinkles out. You'll just be able to feel the batten pop back and forth. That's a pretty good tension. So at the base of the mast, you've got your collar, your furler system here. The downhaul line's attached to the sail. You're just going to pass it through this eye that's built into the furler drum, and you'll pull some tension on it, put it in the cleat, and that's it. It's just a one-to-one purchase. You just want to get the wrinkles out of the luff. You can fine-tune that once you have the sail up on the boat, and you can take another look at it. But for right now, we're just going to have the downhaul on loose, and now I'm going to just wind the sail up so that I can easily install it onto the boat. There's a string here on the sail and a cleat that's sewn into the sail so that you can attach the line. So I'm going to install the mast and sail into the front crossbar. I look up and make sure that I've got clearance and there's no power lines above my head. That's very important. You don't want to get zapped. And it just basically goes straight down, and it's going to automatically lock into place. Right, this little lever right here locks it in. This is how you remove it. You just pull that lever, you lift it up, and that's how you take your sail out. To install it, it automatically locks in place. You don't have to do anything. It is locked. You will want to check. I'm going to go ahead and rig up the sail now. What I do is I have the furler line unrigged. I don't want to have the furler line around the drum when the sail is furled. So when you initially go to set it up, you want to just pass the line completely through the furler cleat, pull it all the way till its end, and you could even cleat it if you want. The reason that we do that is because once you deploy the sail and that starts spinning, it's going to automatically wind up the line. So I'll show you how that works here in just a moment, but the first thing I do is I just get the furler line installed, and I don't want it wrapped around the furler drum. When we ship the kayak, the lines are already ran for the main sheet. But what you have here is you've got this knot that we tie at the factory just to keep the lines tidy. It's really important that you untie this knot here. It's not going to work unless you disconnect all this. So basically just have that free so that your sheets are coming right from the back of the boat, and you can connect it onto the grommet that's on the sail. Now I'm just going to disconnect the furler line that I had around the cleat, so that way we're ready to go. And to unfurl the sail, basically all you should have to do is pull the main sheet at that point. You'll just disconnect the furler line, pull the main sheet, and that's how you're going to deploy your sail. You can stop it at any point, so if you don't want the full amount of sail area, you can actually re-cleat that and have a little bit less sail area for higher winds, or if you're just learning. But that's the way that'll work right there. I like to take the end of the furler line and connect it to the bitter end of the main sheet. And the reason that I do that is because then you've always got the tail of either one of the lines in your hand, so that if you do want to furl it, it's all ready to go. And of course you can sheet the main sheet from the back seat or the front seat. So right now I've got all of the line deployed from the front seat, so you'll want to equalize that with your sailing buddy if you're on a tandem island. One unique feature of the tandem island is that you do have the ability to convert the sheeting to a 3-to-1, because it's quite a large sail. So if you find that it's too hard to sheet and you want that extra purchase, we do have instructions on how to convert that, but what it does is it reduces the ability to sheet it from either seat. You'd only be able to sheet it from one seating position if you convert it to 3-to-1. But that's something to keep in mind, and the instructions to convert that are in your owner's manual. One of the most important features of the island or the tandem island is the integrated daggerboard. The daggerboard is going to allow you to sail higher into the wind, and it's going to give you really good stability when you're going close hauled or reaching. The way you deploy your daggerboard is real simple. It's from the front seat in the tandem island. You just kind of lift that handle and you pull back, and it's going to swing down. It automatically will kick up when you come to the beach, but it's always a good idea to just get in the habit of pushing that forward, and that'll keep it from scraping on sand. But this is a really valuable tool, and you'll want to use that. That's going to give you your best sailing performance. Your island is going to come complete with everything that you've seen in this video. It's going to have paperwork. There's an owner's booklet, delivery checklist, owner's warranty registration, things like that. Everything that's in the packet is available online, so if you haven't received your literature, you can download those at hobiecat.com on the product support page. Those are free downloads. One thing that you will receive with your kayak is a Lowrance Ready system that allows you to more quickly install a fish finder. So you'll have a number of grommets, little hardware and things. This is all covered in your manual, but this will come with your kayak. You'll see here in the manual there is a complete list of everything that's included with your kayak. One thing that we didn't show you on the video, but it comes with the kayak, are Aka bags. The Aka bag is padded, so it's a nice way for you to keep everything grouped if you take your boat apart. A lot of people leave the boat assembled and just use our cradle system on a trailer. You'll find those parts in the parts and accessories catalog. Again, this comes with the kayak and is available as a free download, but everything from PFDs, safety gear, accessories like your, let's say like a dolly, that's all going to be on here. We even have personal flotation devices for your pets. So it's a good read, take a look at that. Again, read the manual front to back, know that. If you have any questions, look on our YouTube channel. We have a lot of videos that are going to cover things that you might have questions about, and we're always adding new content. Again, thanks for watching our quick start video, and I hope to see you on the water. So your adventure islands can be car topped. A lot of people do that. You'll want to check with your vehicle's manufacturing specifications for roof racks. Companies like Thule, Yakima, Rhino Rack, those are some of the companies that we recommend. Tandem islands are obviously going to be a lot heavier, which will be a little trickier to do that. We do have a trailer that we sell made by Trailix. It's aluminum, very lightweight, really nice trailer. We have cradles that specifically fit your island or your tandem island. That's the easiest way to transport it, but we understand that some people might have limitations on storage and they would need to car top. So you'll want to check with the roof manufacturers on that to see what your car is capable of.